Hello, confident ladies. How are you? Happy Wednesday. How's it going? So happy to be with you here again. This has been a pretty exciting week. Today is day 3 of doing these Facebook Lives with you. I'm a little bit early, like I always am. So I'm gonna just wait a few minutes and see if any of you guys sign on and make sure this is working in the group. For some reason, the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, when I did these live streams, only in this group, because I do live streams in my paid groups also, we got cut off in the middle. And I had to start on Monday it over again. And yesterday I had to start over twice. But I wasn't letting any of that technology get in the way of us doing these Q&As. So hopefully today it won't happen again, but who knows. So I'm gonna just check in the group and make sure it's streaming. Okay, awesome. It does look like it's working. So yeah, I'm not sure if the comments are gonna come through on my phone today. It's really strange because certain days they will come through the phone, and then other days I can only see them in the computer. So we'll see once somebody signs on, and then I'll know. But I guess we can sort of just get started. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about our series that we've been talking about this month, how impact can equal income. And I'm going to just go through some of the steps and some of the insights that I shared with you guys last week. Because these are pretty big. Last week we covered the confidence piece of this all. And these are things that, especially when you're new in business, you sort of miss out on at times. You think that you need all of the other things and forget about these things that are really important. So the first one is consistency. This is probably one of the hardest for people, and I probably will say that about a lot of different things, but being consistent, showing up all the time. So really, when you run your business, you can decide how quickly you want to make an impact, how quickly you want to earn money, where you want to see yourself in the future. Yes, you cannot control the future and you cannot control the outcome, but if you work hard, you have a better chance of getting to where it is that you want to go. So I tell people, people ask, how did you create 6 figures in your business in the first year? And I will be honest, I worked my buns off. For probably the first at least 6 months, I was working really long days. So, and I don't advise this, I don't suggest this to people. But there are some high achievers who will want to do this, or crazy people who will want to do this like me. But literally I would start at 5:30 in the morning and, ooh, I'm like playing out loud right now through the computer. Hold on a second, guys. There we go. I don't know if you guys could hear that. But I'd start pretty much like, I'd wake up at 5:30 with my husband, and I'd pretty much start my work by like 6:30. And my husband works and commutes 2 hours each way every day. So he wouldn't get home till probably about somewhere between 8, 9 o'clock, and I would work straight through. And I had my other business at that time too. I had my psychotherapy practice where I was going into the office several days a week. So I was probably still putting in about 20 to 30 hours a week there, which is quite a bit. And then, working on the weekends, working any spare chance that I got on my business. I was pretty exhausted. I honestly don't know how I did it, but I did it. And if I had continued on that path any longer, I definitely would have burned out. Luckily, I did not burn out because I knew that I needed to stop. I knew that I got to a point where I just couldn't push any harder. And by then I was actually in a pretty good place in my business. And because I had pushed so hard in the beginning, I had started creating money in the beginning and was able to hire people to help me in my business. And, you know, I hired people to help even before, really before I was making probably like enough money to hire people. But I saw the bigger picture. I knew that if I wanted to get further, like I couldn't do it alone. So I, you know, had hired coaches. I had several different coaches I was working with at the time I had invested in. And then I had hired a VA. So, you know, I was getting some support. And again, you know, probably breaking even pretty much in the beginning. Because I had been investing so much into my business. And really, most of the investments I've made were probably that 6 months of business. So I knew this is what I wanted. This is how quickly I want to get there. And, you know, right now I'm teaching my Let's Go From Invisible to Impactful group coaching program. And I'm sharing with the ladies, you know, what I did to get visible. And yeah, it seems like a lot and it can be overwhelming to people. But here's the thing, like you don't have to do it that way. Some people may decide, all right, what you did, you know what, I want to go even harder. I want to do even more. And that's totally fine if that's how you roll. But if you have different circumstances, like maybe you have a 9 to 5, maybe you have a family, you are a mother and you have kids at home with you. Things are going to take a little longer and that's okay, but you have to realize that you can't be hard on yourself and you can't expect to have the same results as someone else. And what that actually leads into is, I think it was the fourth insight that I did last week was talking about staying in your own lane and not comparing your story and where you're at in your journey to the person next to you, because we all have different things going on. You know, some people have maybe health issues going on, so, or they have loved ones who are sick and they have a lot more responsibility. Luckily, you know, during that time, it was really just me, my husband, and Turbo. And none of us were sick. We did have a big thing happen with our income property where it had flooded. I think I had told you guys about that. So we actually were doing renovations at that time. So that was a little bit busy too, actually. I almost forgot about that. So every weekend we were doing renovations to try to rebuild this building and apartment that had gotten destroyed in a flood. But again, like everyone has their own journey. So some people maybe are struggling with some type of illness and you constantly have fatigue and you don't have the energy to keep up like that. And that's okay. All right. You can't be hard on yourself, but you just have to realize that you can't compare yourself to the person who's going a mile a minute. You know, your journey is going to take a little bit longer and you can't get frustrated. So, you know, I talked about, again, the comparisonitis and making sure that you don't compare yourself to others. And, you know, it's really easy for that to happen. Even people that we admire or people that we're friends with, like that can happen at times. People might tell you about a win that they had and it could really trigger something. It could make you feel inadequate, but you have to keep looking forward, because when you look to the left or the right, just like driving, you're going to crash. You're going to get into an accident. You might miss something. You might hit another car. Excuse me, a little pregnancy symptom. So you have to keep looking forward, okay? You have to continue to look straight ahead if that's where you want to go to get to your end goal. And actually, speaking of pregnancy symptoms, the whole last quarter of 2016, I was pretty much in bed. I was so sick. And there was no way that I could have worked as hard as I worked last fall. I pretty much, just saw my clients and that was it. Like I couldn't create content. I couldn't even think because I was so exhausted and nauseous every single day. So you have to realize that things are going to change in your life, and there will be seasons where you can hustle and you can work really hard and do what you need to do to get ahead. But then there's going to be seasons where you have to be kind to yourself. You have to lean back and run your business with a little bit more ease. And that's when you're going to have to really work on your mindset, because it's not easy to lean back. And what happens is many people feel like they need to control things and feel like they need to hold on so tightly to their business that they can't step back, and they're in their business too much. And when that happens, things just don't flow. You'll start to see resistance. Things will stop working, or just you'll realize that you're not getting the traction that you really want. And in order to get that traction, you have to learn a good balance of leaning in and leaning back. So let's see. So my insight number 5 was keeping your eye on the prize. And hopefully, let me just check in with you guys. Oh, Ingrid, I just saw your comment. You are here. Yay. So glad to see you. Ingrid is one of my star students in my Let's Go from Invisible to Impactful program. She is doing an awesome, awesome job. Okay, yeah, we were talking about the keeping your eyes on the prize piece. You have to keep your eyes on the prize. You have to look at that long-term goal and dream that you want to achieve, because this is not a short-term thing. If you want to run a sustainable business, you've got to really lay that foundation. You can't just decide, all right, I'm going to start a business and I want to go from 0 to 60 in a day. You've got to be willing to put the work in and, experience challenges, experience setbacks, mess up, and, be disappointed at times. Like, there are so many times where I was disappointed, where things didn't work out the way that I had hoped for them to work out. But every time I fall down, I get right back up, and I get back up even stronger. Oh, Ingrid said, with your help. Thank you, Ingrid. It's been a joy having you in the program. Love, love, love it. So you have to look at that big long-term picture. And that's the whole thing also with investing. That's what I realized was, again, how quickly do I want to make this happen? I want to lay a strong foundation from the start. So I want to learn, I need to learn all of the foundations of owning a business. Just like, any type of career you want to go into, you've got to maybe go to school or take extra trainings or certifications to learn how to do things. And it's the same way with a business. You have to get support. You can't do it alone. So keep your eye on that long-term prize, and you will be okay. You will get there. You have to realize it's all little by little. I think of Marie Forleo. She's one of my biggest inspirations, and she was a coach for, I think it was about 10 years before B School even came out. She was doing coaching, she was bartending, she was working as I think a fitness model. She was teaching fitness classes. I think she was doing a couple other things. She was working her butt off. She was doing a ton of different things, but she knew long term, she saw that big picture vision, and she knew that she wanted more. So that's why she kept on going. And then look at how it turned out. Look at how big B School has gotten and how well she's doing and the impact that she's able to make. And if she had, expected things to happen quickly and, felt defeated, she could have walked away when she was in her 20s and not continued on, but she decided to keep on going. And yeah, it was challenging, but she did it. And there's so many examples out there. There's so many incredible women who have done huge things in the world, but they haven't started. Or maybe, no, they have started maybe at a young age, and it's just taken years and years to get there. There's a really powerful Christian speaker. Her name's Christine Caine, and I think she may have just turned, I might be getting this wrong, either 40 or maybe 50, one or the other. But basically, she became, like she says, like she blew up, or people started to know who she was just like a couple years ago. But it wasn't like an overnight success thing. No, she had been working her entire life on becoming a speaker and empowering women, and working to save girls who are a part of human trafficking. So her organization, her work, I mean, she did it for years. She was working at least 20 years before she came out of nowhere, like people will say. So, you know, it took her a lifetime, not a lifetime, but it took her a very long time. And there's so many examples of other women out there like that. So just realize you have to be gracious to yourself. You can't be so hard on yourself, because if you're hard on yourself, you're going to quit and it's not going to work. So let me just check in with any of you guys who are here and see if you have any questions for me. If not, I will keep chatting. But I want to make sure that if you're here and you have a question, that you do get your question answered. Today's a little bit quiet. We had quite a few people Monday and Tuesday, but that's totally fine. I can just talk about this topic because this is so dear to my heart and I believe in it so much. So the next thing that I talked about last week, insight number 2, is being unapologetically you. So, oh, Ingrid has a, oh, I love that question. Okay, this is a really challenging one. All right, I'm going to answer her question first, and then I will talk about the next insight. So Ingrid said, I have a question regarding coaching. How do you figure out what a full roster looks like? Okay, I get this question all the time, and I tell people I can't really answer it for you. I'll give you my answer, but I can't give you a solid, concrete answer, because full roster means a series of different things, okay? It could mean a variety of different things, I mean. So when I was, let's say I started, okay, I launched, let's start with my therapy practice, okay? So I had my local psychotherapy practice, and a full roster, once I was completely filled, what that meant was I had at that time probably about 30 one-to-one clients, and some of them were coming weekly, some of them were coming bi-weekly at that time. And that was completely filled. So yes, they were 45-minute sessions. So, you know, that's basically with a little couple minutes in between here and there, in between each session, you know, that's 30 hours a week. Doesn't sound like a lot, but all of the paperwork and follow-up and everything else that came with that, that was completely filled. I was at capacity. I had to put people on a wait list or send them to other people because I couldn't take any more. And then once I transitioned over to coaching, I cut back my therapy hours. This was last fall. I cut back my practice to about half. So in the fall, I was seeing maybe like 15 clients a week. Again, that was equivalent to probably about 30 hours in total of the work that went into the therapy practice. So that was about half full. And what I was doing at that time was, you know, I was getting as many clients on free calls as I could, giving out value calls. And then little by little, I started to book paying clients. And as I booked paying clients, you know, my schedule started to get tighter and tighter. And by the springtime, this was probably like the end of, probably mid-April or so, or end of April, I was at capacity with coaching and with my therapy practice. I had pretty much was almost phased out of my therapy practice. I was probably at that time maybe seeing, by April, maybe like 8 to 10 clients a week, which was probably about 20 hours or so. And then the rest of the time we're coaching clients. And at that time, I probably had, for one-to-one coaching clients, maybe like 6, I'd say, probably 6. And what I also was doing though at that time was I was in creation mode. So I was creating a mastermind, which had launched in May and started in May. And then I was also creating a group coaching program. So the mastermind had about 12 women in it. And that was quite a bit of my time as well. So I was putting a lot of time every week. We were doing our mastermind calls every week. So about 6 one-to-one clients, mastermind of 12, and then I had my group coaching program, which had maybe about 18 people in it. Maybe a little bit more, maybe there were over 20, but somewhere around that range. And that was at capacity. I was completely filled. So what had happened was, because I had filled up so quickly around that time, I needed to get extra help in my business. So my VA that I was working with at the time, I had her working like very little hours in the spring, just doing little things for me. And by that time, I think I had gotten her up to maybe 5 hours a week, which was enough at that time to get me through. But then what happened was, I closed. I couldn't take any more one-to-one people until the group coaching shut down and the mastermind ended, which was in August. But in July, I had hired on a digital marketer to take over some digital marketing for me. So, so I had even extra help in my business. So I was able to start planning more and, thinking up what was going to come next. And then in August was a really big month. I had signed on a lot of new one-to-one clients. And I probably had maybe about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 at that time. And I was launching my membership site. And then that's when I got pregnant, and that's when I started to get sick. So I needed to hire even more help in my business. And that's when I signed on my OBM, who's amazing, amazing, amazing. OBM stands for Online Business Manager. So she does basically all of the back end work for me so that I get to be upfront and show up for you guys and just do my thing. So what I would say is, sorry, I'm getting distracted. My cleaning lady's here and she's singing. She sings when she cleans. She's very, very sweet, but it distracts me sometimes. So what happens is, full capacity, I can't fully answer the question because it looks different for each person. So someone, may be working full time, and full capacity for them would be taking on 5 clients because they don't have a ton of support. Right now, it's so hard to figure out. I know it really is. I like that you brought in help where needed. Yeah, Emma, it was super helpful. And the thing is, it's sort of trial and error to see what works and what doesn't work. I had a digital marketer for a few months and she was amazing, and she had actually took over the Facebook group pretty much. This was the summertime when I first got pregnant. She took over my Instagram. She took over my newsletters. So she was doing all the front stuff for me besides coaching. And that's where I thought that I was overwhelmed, and that's where I thought that I needed help. But what I realized was, when I had her doing that, she was doing an incredible job. But I really missed being upfront. I really missed the interaction. And I realized that the back end stuff is really what overwhelms me and holds me back and takes up way too much time that it should. So then that's when I signed on my OBM, and I decided to stop the digital marketing and go back and do it myself, because that's what I feel like I do best with, is just showing up and interacting and getting to hang with you guys. So now everything that I do in the Confident Ladies Club, that's all me. Everything I do on my Instagram, that's all me. It's back to me again. For a while, it wasn't me. But it was my insights, things that I would send her and ask her to post. But it's hard to have someone translate your voice. Yeah, Emma, it really is. She did a fabulous job too. She was so, so good at what she did. But what I found, for For some people, it definitely works. If showing up is an energy sucker for you, like it feels like it's exhausting and it doesn't light you up, then yeah, you're gonna wanna hire someone to do it for you. Because maybe you're really good at tech, or maybe you like being behind the scenes in your business. But for me, I like being in the front. I just love, love, love getting to hang out with you guys, and that's where I wanna be. And I've sort of made that conclusion that going forward, like no matter what, I want to be in the front. Whether it means in the future that I can't take on as many clients, that's fine for me. Ingrid said, because there's a bit of fear around what if I can't keep up if I get really busy. So that is a huge block that I see a lot of people have, and a fear that comes up. And yeah, Emma said that's what I worry about. So here's the thing. It's actually a really good problem to have. Know that, okay? When you get so busy that you can't keep up, that's when you get to hire people to help you. And that's when you get to grow and scale your business even more. So it's actually a great problem to have. And the hardest part is that phase, that in between, like limbo phase, where you are feeling like you can't keep up, but you're not quite in the position to pay and outsource things. But what I'm gonna tell you is, before you burn out, make the investment. Even if you feel like you can't do it, make the investment of hiring someone and outsourcing things and getting the right help in your business, because that will grow your business that much faster. Again, it's scary because you're like, oh my God, I'm hiring basically like an employee, like someone on to that I need to pay every month. And what if I can't do it? But here's the thing, you're gonna have more time, and they will do things that took me like 8 hours, like my OBM could do in 2 hours. So, I mean, she's so incredible. She gets so much done. So I'm able to make a bigger impact now. And it was scary. It was really scary to make that investment, because it's a really big investment. But the more help that I get from her, the more hours I've actually been hiring her on. My husband loves her. He's like so happy that I have her on board, because he sees the difference in my business and the difference in me, that I can be more available and have a normal life because I have all the help. So he's actually encouraged me to continue to get her on, like get her on as many hours as you can, because it only makes your business grow if it's the right person. Yeah, Emma, I think you're at that point too. She said that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, because you're running 2 businesses. I know at least 2, maybe there's a third, but I know at least 2. You're branding, and Emma is my brander actually. I cannot wait to show you what she cooked up. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get it out there to you guys, but she has done some incredible work. My brand is like, I had a complete brand overhaul. So things are going to be completely different, a little bit of the same, but it's a pretty big difference you're going to see. I can't wait to share it. But yeah, Emma, I think you're at that point. I really do. You're at that point where I think it would help to invest even just a little bit, and even start someone, if it's like even just 5 hours a month, to be doing a few little things for you. Really, for all of you guys, take some time and figure out like what lights you, like make a list, what lights you up in your business and what drains you in your business. Because, and like, what are you really good at? What's your zone of genius? And then what are you not so good at? Because we can't be good at everything, okay? I'm awful at anything tech related. Like, it will take me days. I'm so bad. I'm not good at designing. There's a lot of things that I'm really not good at. And I know paying a little bit of money, like someone will do a much better job. So I let them do their own zone of genius, their own thing. So Emma, I think you're totally in that place. Even if you start with 5 hours a month, that's where I started, and just sending little things for them to do. The one thing though that I would say is, if you start with a VA, you want to make sure that you are really clear what you need help on, because a VA, you're really going to tell them like what you need done, and you're going to need to show them what you need done. So that's sort of the difference between a VA and an OBM. An OBM, an online business manager, they like basically Megan came into my business and said, these are the things, these are the systems you need set up, and this is what I'm gonna do. So a lot of what she does, like I don't even know how she does it. Like I don't even know how to set up a sales funnel, but that's what she does. An email series. I have no idea how to do any of that. So with a VA, you might have to teach your VA or like actually give them step-by-step instructions. Some VAs do know how to do all of that, but that's the difference in OBM. You know, they can come in and actually just sort of start teaching you things that you didn't even know about. So yeah, Emma, so what an OBM does. So my OBM does basically everything besides my coaching, my group programs, membership, and my Facebook group. So anything related on the back end, whether it's, so a lot of the stuff that she does actually, I probably don't even know or know how to do. Let's see, like what does she do? So she sends emails, she schedules emails out for me. She sets up sales funnels for me. She works on my website when I need it, does updates. She will comb through like everything that I have and look for things that need to be done and tie up loose ends for me. If I need her to write some emails, she'll write emails. What else? If I need her to do some graphics, she'll do graphics. There's so much more. Like she'll set up like payment systems for me. I don't know how to do any of that. So she handles my Moon Clerk, which goes to my Stripe. She handles my Active Campaign. She sets up different series. She does different tagging. Again, I don't know how to do any of that stuff, but it's all working. She does stuff with my like e-commerce page where I sell my bundles and everything. What else? Yeah, she updates sales pages, lead pages, pretty much anything. If I needed like her to research something, like, oh, I wanted her to do research on like open rates. So she did that and my open rates have gone up. So yeah, so you provide content and she whips it into action. Exactly. Yeah. So again, an OBM would be a much bigger investment than a VA. But if you are not so good at systems, I would highly advise you to start then with an OBM and not even maybe with a VA, unless it's like a VA who really has been doing it for a while and maybe they specialize in systems, because you know there's so many different specialties out there. So I would just do a little research. The best way is just to ask around and see what other people have experienced. See if you can get some recommendations, some names. One thing that I would suggest is that if you get a recommendation, make sure that the individual has been working with them for a total of 6 months. That's my new rule in my business, is I will not give a recommendation unless I've worked with you for 6 months. So yeah, you just want to make sure, because people, you know, could change businesses, or, you know, sometimes people show up really great in the beginning and then by the second, third month, you know, they've sort of lost momentum. And maybe are not as motivated working for you anymore. So for me, I will only give a name if I've worked with them for 6 months, and Megan is someone I would suggest. I think she's pretty full right now, and I want to hoard her and take every little free hour that she gets, because she's awesome. And I'm actually going to visit her. She lives not in New York. I won't tell you where she lives, but she lives a plane ride away, and the end of February, my husband and I are going to see her and visit with her, and we're going to have a whole planning day to start planning some even more fun, exciting things for the Confident Ladies Club and for my business. So I cannot wait to get to see her in person. So yeah, any other questions on this, guys? Let me know. Any other questions? If not, I will wrap up soon. But I love when you guys ask stuff, because I love to talk and give you some insights. Any other questions? I am so excited because I have my Let's Go from Invisible to Impactful group coaching call at 2:30 today. My girls in there are rock stars. They are working so hard and really showing up, and you might notice a little bit of a shift in the Confident Ladies Club because a lot of them have been getting really visible in there and practicing. So it's been a joy to get to see the changes that are happening, and a lot of mindset shifts even that are happening around showing up. So yay for them, kudos to them. And then don't forget my 3-month program. Just want to remind you guys, I have one space left. So you guys know I shut down my 6-month program until July because I'm gonna need some extra time as a mama. I'm gonna have help here. But I'm not going to be able to take on as many clients. And I'm going to take a little bit of time for myself and baby. So what I'm doing is, I usually only have clients for 6 months at a time, but I've decided to condense my program for those of you who don't want to wait till July. You really want to get started now, and you want more support in your business right now. So the program will start February 1st. It will be all February, March, April, and then May is when I'll be out for a little bit and only seeing my existing clients. Won't be taking anyone else new on. So if you are interested, I've already sold the one spot and I have one left. So you're gonna wanna shoot me a message, shoot me an email, just let me know so we can hop on a call. I can tell you all about it. We can talk about if it's a good fit for you.